I think they're definitely going to be feeling the pressure. I mean, it'd be totally unnatural for them not to be. It's how they deal with that pressure and how they cope. And I think when you've got a side of Manchester City's quality that are on the hunt, it definitely makes a difference when you know the quality. But for them not to feel pressure, I think would just be unrealistic. It's totally normal. And for him to say, you know, we're going to fight with this with every fibre of our being. Of course, they're all desperate and they're all fighting to achieve that goal. I mean, it's an amazing thing for them to be doing. But I think that you need to play down these situations. I don't think it's the wrong tact. I think they haven't had a great few matches. They've been doing okay, a little bit of a dip in form, but they're still hanging in there and they're still in a great position.
Harry, from a manager's point of view, when you stood there and we're all looking at you for these sound bites and all the fans are listening to what the manager's saying, the players are hanging on out of your every word, do you have to make sure that you do accentuate the positives and remain upbeat, even though you're the man that's got to shoulder the burden of it all?
I think you do. I think you've got to obviously always give out positive messages, not only to your team but to the fans as well, because it is a group effort. You know, it's not just the team, it's also the fans and everyone behind the club to be part of it. But everyone's talking about, you know, Liverpool not doing well at the moment. But the important thing is they're still picking up points, even in this little blip. You know, and if you're playing bad, but you're still picking up points, that's a good thing. You know, because there's still plenty of games to go, and you know that they're going to turn this form around. So for me, I think they're in a great position at the moment.
It's unrealistic for them to win every game.
Of course.
Let's face it. I mean, everyone's judging it going, well, Liverpool are knocking it out of the park every match, you know, and they had a spell where nobody could get near them, which is why they're in this position. But for them to sustain that for a full season, it's completely unrealistic. So, you know, draws away at West Ham in tough fixtures and these type of matches, you're going to get these scenarios where, like you say, you take something from the game.
But also, this is probably the toughest league in the world. So you are going to come up against, like I said, teams that are going to be fighting where they are in the position of their league, and they're going to go up. So once you play Liverpool, everyone steps up, goes to that extra level, because what they want to try to impress anyway. So again, it's always going to be difficult, but again, they are still picking up points. And if you'd have offered this to Liverpool at the start of the year, any Liverpool fan, any part of Liverpool, they would have taken it.
Is that where the question comes in about what you look at Manchester City and the players that they've got, the experience that they've got at doing this, at winning trophies, at being the dominant force? From Liverpool's point of view, the finger's pointed that there might be a slight bit of naivety there, but surely that could work in their favour. They've not been in this position before, so can you enjoy it? Can you embrace that type of pressure?
But don't forget, they do have a manager that has won a league title, you know, and he hasn't had the so-called best team as well. So he knows how to get the best out of it. He knows how to win a title, especially in his domestic league. So again, for me, I think Liverpool are in a good position. Yes, don't get me wrong. You know, everyone's talking about, oh, they're a bit shaken, and everyone's talking. But that's what gets everyone excited. Everyone wants to see this title race come so close. No one wants to see someone run away with it because it gets boring. I mean, we look at other leagues and you see great teams running away with it. Is everyone really concentrating on that? Everyone's concentrating on the Premier League because it's so fascinating.
The one weapon that I think Liverpool have is the fact that Klopp's got quite a fearless style, isn't he? Like he doesn't hold back. He goes out and throws it at games. He's very, very attacking. They've obviously defensively been a lot more sound this season and strengthened that massively. But I think he's got quite a fearless approach. So in terms of managerially, I think he's actually has a good effect on the players because he always seems quite upbeat. He plays things down in that sense. But his style and his philosophy is very much on the front foot, high energy, high octane, fast start. And I think, you know, when you're feeling a bit under pressure and you know the pressure's on, I think it helps to have that mentality.
Does it show perhaps how far they've come when you talk about maybe the way that they've approached games this season, where you look at the draw against Leicester, you look at the draw against West Ham, and would they have been games that, if they weren't in them last season, they could have possibly lost? I mean, you're still coming away with a point, you're still not losing games, as you say.
Definitely, because I think, you know, especially at West Ham, the midfield was not quite the usual strength for me, and a back four may have felt the pressure of that, and they may well have lost that game. So, you know, I think...
Because I suppose it depends which way you look. I mean, you could say it's 2 defeats out of 6, but then it's also unbeaten in 4, isn't it? I mean, depending which way you dress it up, I mean, and I'm sure Klopp, from a positive point of view, and that particular look on his face there shows that he's got things under control.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Man City, we all know, was a difficult game. Wolves was an under-strength team in the FA Cup. And then from then on, I think the results are okay. Okay, Leicester at home, but again, these matches can be difficult.
But then also, I think you've got to give also credit to the opposition, because people learn. You know, they learn from last year, and they're not just going there being naive. They know exactly how Liverpool play. They know the danger men. They know what they've got to do. So again, it's also Liverpool now. Maybe they have to try something different, bring something different to certain parts of the game at certain times. You can't just keep playing the same way, because if you do, people will just block it up and be very defensive. And you know, you'd always get one chance in the Premier League, and if you get that chance, you take it. Then you cause anyone problems.
And with the way the games have gone, where we've had one team play and the other one, in effect, watching them, then the other team plays. I mean, again, this weekend, Liverpool play on Saturday, Manchester City play on Sunday. Psychologically, there's a chance there to get ahead of the points at the weekend, isn't there?
Of course, and it's a big question when people say, you know, does that really affect you?
Does it?
It never affected me, because I was always one to just concentrate on my own game. Never really worried about the results or anything, just concentrate, make sure I do my job properly. So again, I can't honestly see any of the Liverpool players really being affected by who's on top or anything. As long as they go out there and do their job, I think they're happy.
It's just a factor of how the matches are structured now, and it works both ways. There's going to be times where Liverpool are going to know the City result first, or what have you. It's part and parcel of how the Premier League is, in the fixture list is now, and as a player, you have to cope with it.
Going forward, I mean, the possibility that Mo Salah might be on international duty coming up in the next month or so. Will they be able to cope without him? Is it akin to perhaps Harry Kane coming out the Spurs side and leaving a big hole?
I don't think it's as big a dent as that, because Liverpool have more players of a similar calibre to Salah in similar roles, whereas I think Spurs, you know, had a huge hole there when Harry Kane left. Not to say that Salah doesn't bring masses to the team, but I think, you know, Liverpool are equipped to cope without him for a couple of games. It would be a real blow, because I think he's been on very good form.
I think it's going to be a blow, because I think when you look at a team sheet, first and foremost, you look at players on there, and if you don't see Salah on there, you're thinking straight out, ooh, okay, this is so. Because look, he may have not been hitting great form over the last two games, and I think he's starting to creep into that kind of category of being one of the best players into the world. And if he doesn't do it, he's always going to get criticised. I mean, I watched
because
him,
of the ridiculous standards that he
of course.
set for
I mean, look,
season.
he's scoring goals, obviously left, right, and centre. I mean, even when I watched him against West Ham, he had a quiet game. But then when you see him in his prime position, which is on the edge of the box, driving in at defenders, I mean, you can just see them. They're all scared. I mean, there's two, three...
It's like the penalty way, isn't it?
Of course. And you know, 1 minute he's one way, next minute he's turning. I mean, the only other player you kind of see up there that can twist and turn like that is Messi. You know, and you just see that. So I think it is a blow, especially coming to that time. So it'd be interesting to see if he does go.
And from the point of view of we use the word pressure a lot, but the kind of nerve side of it, where you've got to maintain an active sense of jeopardy in a game, haven't you? When you go into it, the nerves are there to make sure that you perform at your absolute best. I mean, is there potential for that to be draining on them physically in between the matches?
I don't think so. I think that the nerves are a crucial factor in performance at times, aren't they? You know, it's about handling them. It's that balance between having the buzz and the energy for the nerves might help stimulate, but obviously keeping them under control so you can maintain focus and your clear head and perform. So that's performance. You know, all the best athletes or football players in the world need to understand what that is to get the best out of themselves. So I think it can be a positive thing, and if it swings too far either way, then I suppose it can be draining if you've not got it under control.
Do you think where they are, Harry? I mean, you understand what that club's like. You've been right in the centre of that club. Where they are at this moment in time, it would mean. I mean, it's an understatement to say it would mean so much to that club if they could get over the line this season, wouldn't it?
It would be unbelievable. They've waited a long time. We've all tried. We've all given our best to bring the Premier League home to Liverpool. And I think it would be something special. And like I said, they are heading in the right direction. But again, it's the toughest league in the world. I mean, you're not saying that there's two teams involved. I mean, we're sitting in here now and we're looking at the other teams that are possibly, and you're looking at 6 great teams in this league that any one of them possibly could win it. So where they're heading at the moment, I think they've got a great chance, but it's far from the end. And I think there's going to be a lot of like Liverpool on top, then Man City. Man City may go a couple of points in front, and it could just chop and change until the very last game.